Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/AmIOverReacting for you all. As per usual, I'll be going through the post, giving you my opinion at the end, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Okay, Purpose 5145. Am I overreacting? My father terrified my partner and children. My children haven't seen my parents since, and I'm being blamed for the whole mess. About 8 weeks ago, I, male 35, was at work when I received a video call from my partner, female 38, and 12 and 8-year-old children absolutely beside themselves. They had met my father for some food, and he was driving them home. Another driver pulled out in front of him, and this enraged my father, who is well known for road rage. My father drove angrily and aggressively, eventually turning on my son, shouting at him as he was hiding in the passenger footwell due to fear. He was also trying to console my older daughter by reassuring her whilst shouting at my son. My partner insisted that he stop the car and let them out, and he eventually did, about 10 minutes later. By this point, my partner was understandably furious. I've met my parents twice, and they believe that myself and my partner are keeping the children away from them, but I don't know what else to do. My children were so traumatized by the incident that they don't want anything to do with them right now. My mother feels that my father has red mist and it's just one of those things. I'm really upset that this even happened and that my parents have put me in this position. Both of them feel that they're sorry that this has happened, but it's for me to sort out now. Am I overreacting, or am I right to maintain some breathing space while we figure this out? Road rage is something that is entirely unacceptable, and I personally believe that if you can't keep yourself calm behind the wheel, you shouldn't have your license. If someone else's actions on the road make you become irritable, enraged, and begin driving recklessly to prove a point or a lesson, yeah, no license for you. It's one thing just to go, you fucking idiot, and then continue driving because no one's getting harmed, and it's just a quick little outlet. But endangering your life, the person who dared to merge in front of you, or perhaps even, God forbid, your passengers, like your grandchildren and daughter-in-law. For what? Because someone pulled out in front of you? Oh, you're saying that them pulling out endangered your daughter-in-law and grandchildren? Well, guess what? Your actions did too. That example is from my personal life. I had a family member who had severe road rage, and one of their justifications for it was, well, I had to do something to protect you. Yeah, that something was continuing to drive like a normal person, and not driving recklessly to get in front of the person who had the audacity to merge in front of you so you could brake check them. And the fact that this wasn't even like 30 seconds of road rage, that this was extended like 10 minutes, or hell, even longer, is just unacceptable. Commenter from user Mariner Loves Dogs. You need to choose your partner and your children. They come first. I wouldn't allow your father anywhere near them. Even being in the room with him would re-traumatize them. Your dad is finding out what happens when he rages. He loses contact with his grandchildren. Actions have consequences. If you allow your father near those kids again, then you're failing at parenting. You're supposed to protect them, even from family. OP responds, it's sad to hear this, but I agree with you. I was desensitized to a lot of that behavior as a child and was just expected to see it as normal. My mom is very calm and the total opposite, but she feels that I'm playing games and doesn't see that we're all hurting. Honestly, if I was in OP's position, I would be heavily limiting the contact they have with their grandparents and put the stipulation that I want you to go through X amount of months of anger management before you begin to see your grandkids again. And I want to see that you no longer have incidents of road rage before they're even allowed to be within your car again. That line needs to be firmly drawn because, that commenter's right. You need to protect your family, even if it's from family. Busy Manor 5710. Daughter's father told me that he woke in the middle of the night to her crying and that I did not wake. I checked the baby monitor and this never happened. Am I overreacting to be fuming? This is my first post, so apologies for any mistakes. My daughter recently turned 2, and her father stayed in my home the night before so as to see her the morning of her birthday. He does not have her on his own or at his address, his choice, and does not see her very regularly, but she does love him, and I knew that she would want to see him on her birthday. We separated shortly after she was born when I discovered he had been having an affair, and things have been strained since. However, I would like to co-parent well and felt this gesture may be a step in the right direction. On the morning of her birthday, he woke up late, and when I asked why, given that the point was to spend time with her, he said that he was exhausted as he had been up all night comforting her, as she had been crying most of the night inconsolably. He said that he could not believe that I had slept through it and not heard her calling for me. I was distraught that I would not have heard my daughter. She has her own room, but I sleep with both our doors open and the baby monitor beside me. I felt like the worst mother in the world to have ignored her crying and calling for me, and a failure as a parent for not waking up to her cries. I was absolutely ashamed and devastated. He proceeded to lecture me while I cried and commented that he was thankful he was there, or she would have cried all night. After I had calmed down and thought to check the recording on the baby monitor, as it records constantly while plugged in, and throughout the entire night, she did not stir once. I was flabbergasted. I confronted him immediately, and he at first stuck to his story. When presented with the evidence, he then claimed that he must have dreamt the whole thing, and that I needed to let it go. But I cannot let it go. I feel that he had made up this lie to make me question myself as a mother and cause me pain. He has a history of lying and manipulation, which I thought I could look past for the sake of peaceful parenting. But of all the things he has done, this feels unforgivable. It feels incredibly cruel and unnecessary. I have not spoken to him since, and am struggling to imagine how to communicate going forward as I am so angry. Am I overreacting to the situation, or am I justified in my anger? Sorry, it looks like the co-parenting thing is going to fall through. You need to 100% keep the documentation of that night, specifically, before the birthday. You need to make sure that everything is recorded. If you have a Nest doorbell camera of him showing up that day, make sure that's there too, so you can categorize exactly when he was in your home and when he left, so if he ever tries to make the claim for custody that you had neglected your daughter that night, you can prove that wrong. Additionally, I'm also going to 100% call bullshit on his excuse that he maybe just dreamt it. This was 100% an attempt to make you feel bad and to swing where it hurts. I wonder if this was a lie that he just made up in the process to try to excuse the fact that he overslept, when if he would have just stated, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I haven't been sleeping well," that would have been fine. It would have totally been understandable. Just stating that things have been stressful and he hasn't been sleeping well. That is so much more believable and doesn't have any of the kind of lasting damages of his lie that he just fucking made up to attack OP, because he was shifting the blame from him onto her. And if, let's say it was a dream, why wasn't there an apology of, well, damn, I guess that's why I didn't sleep well, because that whole thing just actually was a dream. I am so sorry that I accused you of this. Instead, it was, well, I must have dreamt it. You should just let this go because it's not a big deal. After he purposely targeted you where it hurt and lectured you? Yeah, no, fuck that. I'm sorry, but you should not be letting this man co-parent with you. Definitely not overreacting. And also, if he's willing to lie about this, make sure you're getting as much documentation as possible, because I doubt this is going to be the last time something like this happens. Plushy Bear. Am I overreacting for walking out on my hairdresser because she didn't tell me she couldn't do my hair how I wanted beforehand? So I, 20s female, went to go get my hair done today. I had messaged the woman who does my hair 2 weeks ago to see if she had any openings. I sent her a pic of what I wanted, and she told me to send her a picture of the way my hair currently looks. I sent her a picture of that as well, and she messaged me back saying she had put me in for Saturday. Now, I want to clarify that she is the only person who has ever dyed my hair. The first time I dyed my hair about 8 months ago was with her, and I was very happy with what she did, and no one else has touched my hair but her since then. For context, the last couple of times I have done my hair, I've gotten a light brown kind of coppery tone to my hair. This time, I wanted to keep my coppery tone, but add some pink streaks because I wanted to do something fun. I'm not a hairdresser. I don't know what is possible and what is not possible, and I expect to be told if something can be done or not. Well, today, I walk into my appointment, and from the minute I walk in, she doesn't even remember scheduling my appointment, but then she does, and she asks me to wait while she gets stuff ready. Then, she's asking me if I'm just getting a touch-up of what I already have, and I said no. I sent you a picture of what I wanted. And she asks me to show it to her, and I do, and she takes one look at the picture and says that she can't do it. I'm surprised because she had not said anything in the messages or told me it wasn't possible. I tell her that I sent her a picture and video of my hair as well as the picture of what I wanted, and she didn't say anything about not being able to do it. She then starts acting as if she had never seen a picture of my hair before, and I pull up the messages and show her, and she says, "Well, it must have just slipped my mind to tell you," and tells me to go look for something else I want. At this point, I'm not even in the chair yet. I'm just standing there. I go over to the waiting area, and I'm on Pinterest trying to find something, and I'm very upset. I was set on getting this hair color today. I didn't even look at anything else. I have no clue what I want, and I don't want to pick something in a rush and then not like it. I also just feel like that her, as a hairdresser, she could have made suggestions to me about what I can do, because I didn't want to pick something that also wasn't possible. I look for a bit, but can't decide, and so I go up to her and say that I'll just come back another day because I do not know what I want. She's taken aback, but says, "Yeah, okay, we just can't do that. You need to pick another one." So I tell her I completely understand, and I am not upset about not being able to do it, but I am upset because she asked for pictures of my hair and the hair I wanted and scheduled my appointment, and then told me I could not do it. I told her it would have been nice to be told that she couldn't do it over text because now I feel disappointed and rushed to pick something else. She keeps talking about how she just can't get my hair pink and can't give me what I want and to just pick something else. I tell her I get it and I have no problem with that, and that my problem is with the fact that she didn't tell me 2 weeks ago. She then says, "Well, what do you want me to do? I can still do your hair, but you're leaving." Now I'm very sensitive and was close to tears, so I just said, "Thank you for your time," and walked out. But now I'm wondering if I overreacted. I am very sensitive, so was it a huge deal? Should I have just sucked it up and picked something new like she said? I have also had nothing but good experiences before this and had no issue with not getting the pink in my hair. I just hated feeling rushed and not being told beforehand. Am I overreacting? Definitely not overreacting, and I'm also happy that OP was able to stand up for themselves and walk out of there and not feel the pressure of picking something. Because what the hairdresser did here is incredibly unprofessional. Part of me wonders if this was potentially purposeful, if she knew in that moment she couldn't do it, still filled the schedule slot hoping to get a client in for that time slot, and then would play none the wiser when she told you that, "Oh, I didn't know that I couldn't do this," or "Oh, I didn't see these photos," or "Oh, it must have slipped my mind. But anyways, you should go pick out a style that we can do." Hoping that OP would fold in the moment and decide to go with something just to get it done, and then she also gets the slot filled for that time. OP walking out was 100% the right choice. They were told that what she wanted couldn't be done only when she arrived, and not the week prior when she had sent reference photos. That's unacceptable and entirely unprofessional, and it really does give the impression that she saw the reference photos, she saw the photos of OP, knew that she couldn't do it, decided to book it anyways, and proceeded with it. Because if the hairdresser was being honest and she knew that she couldn't do that style but forgot to tell OP or it slipped her mind, then why did she book it? Why did she book the time slot? In the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you were rude to the hairdresser or not. She tried pushing you to change your style and change your appearance to something that you would have potentially been uncomfortable with just to keep the ball rolling and keep things moving. Walking out was 100% the correct decision here. Apophis 99942. Am I overreacting? My girlfriend invited my ex-wife and her family to my house for a pool party. She claimed she didn't know she was my ex. I recently moved back to my hometown after 14 years. I left because I caught my then wife cheating on me, and it broke me. When I moved back, I bought a house in my hometown with a pool. I started dating a girl named Katie. We've been together for 6 months, and I've met most, but not all, of her friends. I was out of town for a work-related thing, and she stayed at my house while I was gone. We've done this before and never had issues. I trust her, and I need someone to feed my cat, so why not? She asked me if it would be okay if her friend and her kids came and used the pool and hung out the day I was returning. She told me her friend's name, and it was the same name as my ex-wife. I really didn't think too much of it. It's a common name. I said sure, and said I wanted some alone time in the evening, and she agreed. Just gonna be a day thing. I had a hard day of travel to get home. The airline had delays, and I spent a long time on layovers. I was tired when I got home, but I knew Katie's friend and her kids were there, and I don't like to lash out due to stress. So, I put my game face on and walked into the house. Katie ran up to me and gave me a hug and kiss, then walked me to the kitchen to meet her friend. I was totally shocked when I saw my ex-wife and her husband in my kitchen. The guy is the guy she cheated on me with, by the way. I literally had to pause for like 20 seconds and just stare until my brain rebooted and I could even say something. I asked what the hell they were doing in my kitchen, and she said she was Katie's friend. I asked her and her husband if they realized they were in my house, and they said yes. They said they didn't know I was Katie's boyfriend until they got there. I told them they should leave, and Katie tried to talk me out of it, but I held firm. Their kids didn't want to leave, obviously, and my ex's husband was making comments to his kids like, "The bad man said you can't swim anymore today," and shit like that. Pissed me right off. When they left, I asked Katie if she knew before that she was my ex-wife, and she said no. That's probably true because Katie is 33 and my ex and I are 44 and 42 respectively. I rarely talk about her, and it's not like I showed Katie pics of her. Plus, Katie was in college when my ex and I split up, so it's not like they knew each other then. I asked Katie if my ex followed her on Instagram, and she said yes. If my ex is anything like she was back then, she lives her whole life on social media, and there is no way she didn't know from the pics on Katie's Insta that we were together. Katie said they met at Alcoholics Anonymous, which does make sense because my ex was in it even back when we were together. Our town isn't that big, so there aren't a ton of different meetings. Katie says I overreacted and embarrassed her, but I told her that there was zero chance my ex didn't know Katie and I were together beforehand. This was some sort of power play or something, and creepy as fuck, honestly. I asked Katie if my ex had mentioned to her ever, like at all, that I was her ex-husband. Katie said she never said anything, and said again she didn't know she was my ex-wife. So then, I asked Katie if she thought it was weird and creepy as fuck that her friend had realized beforehand or when they arrived at my place that she was at her ex-husband's house and decided to chill anyway, knowing I was on my way home. I mean, think about it. If Katie and my ex are close enough outside of their marriage that she wanted to invite her over, then surely the topic of relationship status had come up at some point, right? Her lock screen is a picture of us at a baseball game, for fuck's sake. When I pointed that out, I could see some things were clicking into place for her, but she persisted about how I was rude and embarrassed her, etc. I asked her if she had ever shown my ex the pic on her lock screen of us, like in passing, in a "do you have a boyfriend" sort of way. And she said she had. I was like, how do you not see the weirdness then? Just, how can she not see how weird this is? It's like a made-for-TV movie level of creepy. I literally can't get my head around it. The thing is, my ex and I have had zero contact in 12 years. So, for real, what the fuck? Katie is currently at her place and we haven't talked since. It's been 3 days. And I'm just here stewing over it and trying to make it make sense in my head. I have no clue where to go from here. Am I overreacting? What should I do? I am very seriously thinking of ending my relationship over this. Sorry about the length. I'm just word vomiting onto my keyboard. Comment from Hygh459. I think the most helpful answer is saying, yes, I wasn't polite and that's unfortunate, but why can't you understand how overwhelming it would be to randomly walk into your house and see your ex and the person they cheated on you with just hanging out in your house? If all you care about was me being rude and not about my feelings, then I think that says a lot. If you want to talk and move forward, that's great, but this is a situation I need you to prioritize my feelings and understand where I'm coming from. OP responds, I think I'm going to use this and rephrase it a bit into my own way of talking, but this is spot on. Thank you. Dr. Mobius responds, I'm gonna bet your ex realized fairly early on after meeting Katie that she was your girlfriend, at least as soon as they exchanged their socials. From that point on, it's been a pretty sick and twisted manipulation of Katie to get an opportunity to burn you. In Katie's defense, she could have been totally clueless about the deception and just be in denial that someone so close to her could be that calculating and manipulative. It could be pretty hard to wrap her brain around it. However, Katie's repeated insistence that you were rude, is there really any rude way to deal with that shock, goes beyond naivete. Like, there's a total lack of empathy. The fact that at this moment in time, Katie is at her house is everything you need to know of which side she chose. It sounds like Katie is just in completely denial about the fact that she was so thoroughly manipulated, because there is no denying that OP's ex-wife manipulated the hell out of this, and that her husband is just as bad with the bad man says you can't swim anymore. You're in my house! Like, what do you mean? You knew this would happen. They did know this would happen. I actually 100% think that the entire ploy of this was to literally cause OP and Katie to break up as some form of revenge or way to get back at him. And Katie, being naive, is being strung along and for some reason refused to see what's going on. And that's very apparent by the fact that she's currently either visiting with them or staying with them. Definitely not overreacting. Electronic Tart 8138. Am I overreacting, or did my wedding actually get ruined because the drummer refused to be filmed? My husband and I just got married last weekend, and I still feel sick thinking about this. We hired a band, videographer, and photographer, like literally every other normal wedding. Everything was going great. Packed dance floor, people laughing. Then, in the middle of a song, the drummer just stops, throws his sticks down, and literally yells into the mic, "Turn the camera off me right now. I did not consent to be filmed. I will sue you if you keep recording me." Like, screamed it in front of everyone. The music instantly dies, all eyes on him. I'm standing there, absolutely stunned, while this grown man is having a full meltdown about being on camera at a wedding, where 50% of the guests are literally filming on their phones anyway. Then he starts yelling that he refuses to be exploited for content. His exact words. He said he's not some influencer prop and nobody has permission to use his face for internet content. Like, I was trying to secretly monetize him or something. He keeps yelling that he has severe self-esteem issues and acne and does not want his face recorded. He refuses to play another note unless all cameras are off him. But he also refuses to leave the stage. So he's just sitting there on the drum kit, arms crossed, glaring at everyone, while the energy is absolutely dead. The band looks horrified. The singer keeps apologizing to us. My wedding coordinator is trying to remind him that we clearly said in the contract and in multiple emails that the event would be filmed. He's still ranting about suing us. The mood was gone. Guests started leaving. The dance floor emptied and the night never recovered. My wedding was effectively over in that moment. I did not even get the reception I had planned and paid for because of this one man's outburst. And then today, the band emails us saying they will not issue any refund because they claim they fulfilled the performance. I'm honestly shaking with anger. Am I overreacting for wanting a full refund and wanting to scream about this from every rooftop? Is this normal? Has anyone ever had something like this happen? I feel humiliated and robbed of my own wedding night. See, I was wondering if this might be like a Bridezilla post or something, but no, it's not. You're at a wedding, an event that, in our day and age, is commonly filmed by everyone there. And even if it wasn't the case where we live in a day and age where everyone has a 4K high-quality camera in their pocket at a moment's notice, there was still a contract and multiple emails sent saying they would be on camera, something they agreed to. And no, the band did not fulfill their part of the bargain. My recommendation, keep all records, all emails sent to them informing them they'd be filled. Try to get as much footage as possible of the drummer's meltdown, and then respond to their email letting them know that either they're going to refund you for the band's performance and additionally for the cost of the reception that you didn't get to have because of the band's meltdown, or else you will be pursuing legal action. Now, I'm not one to recommend legal action because it's pricey, it's expensive, and it can oftentimes drag on for a long time. But this is a situation where if you have the evidence and they clearly did you harm and cost you your wedding night, you more than likely are able to probably sue for the damages they caused. Of course, consult with an attorney and see what they say and if they're willing to send a demand letter, but seriously, this is a circumstances where damages have been done that is a pretty hefty monetary damage. It's not cheap to book a gig and a reception for a wedding night, and pursuing these avenues are entirely reasonable. Traveling Ree, Am I overreacting? I think my lifelong best friend had a baby with my husband. It was 25 years ago that I was in the delivery room with my best friend. She gave birth to a gorgeous baby girl, which she ended up adopting out, in an open adoption. 16 years go by, and the daughter seeks out her birth mom, my best friend. Best friend shows me a picture of the girl from the nose up. I see my now ex-husband in this pic. So I flat out ask my friend, "Did you sleep with blank back in the day?" She admits she had, but that the kid isn't my ex-husband's. Fast forward 9 years, the girl, now a young woman, keeps showing up on my Facebook as a person I may know. Out of curiosity, I click on her profile and the present-day pic. It's like I'm looking at a female version of my ex-husband, as well as a female version of my son, who I share with my ex-husband. Also, the same age. Pregnant at the same time. Go figure. I made my peace with my ex-husband long ago. He's a great father, loves his kids, we have 2 sons, and we get along when we're in shared space. Usually when one of our sons has a thing. This friend, I cut her off a while back just for being nasty. That's a whole damn book in itself. But my ex-husband doesn't know about this kid, to my knowledge. I'd confronted him back when the girl was 16, and he looked rocked at the idea of a possible daughter he didn't know out there. Like, he loves his kids. I know a while back this girl wanted to know who her father was. I don't know how to proceed here. User Deadmau5 Remix comments, I think you should let him know the situation. Tell him that you're aware that they were both intimate during that time and that she had a daughter. If he is a great father, he would reach out and potentially take a DNA test. The quote, "it's not your business," end quote, you carry information that can bring someone closure on who their bio dad is. People don't realize how serious that is. I would be more vocal about it if I knew, especially if this woman is a half-sibling to my child. The "you're overreacting" is such a crazy thing to say to someone who thinks that their best friend has a child with their ex-husband. Your feelings are definitely valid. User Aquatic Rainbow comments, the thing that gets me is OP made mention of it before, years ago when the girl was 16, and while he seemed floored at the idea, I'm getting the feeling he never looked into it, which I find a bit surprising. If I was a guy, not the one giving birth to baby, and someone who used to be close to me asked me if I had a child with someone from our past, I would definitely want to know why they asked and would want to look into it, because most people wouldn't just jokingly ask something like that. There's probably a lot of understandable reasons ex-husband didn't reach out or try and find out if that is his baby, but I just find it a little odd since, wouldn't you want to know? OP responds, not trying to defend my ex-husband here, but there were some major factors at the time that prevented him from following up, and the last I had talked to him about it was after the friend said she'd had a few other men tested, and one matched. I'd like to believe that, but to give perspective, her first child, she had 9 different men tested, and not a single one matched. So my personal tinfoil hat theory is that the friend was lying about the potential match that she told OP that she found because she doesn't want to be in the boat where suddenly now it's revealed that her ex-husband had slept with her, and further kind of deteriorating things, despite the fact that it sounds like they're not really friends anymore. Or at least that's what would have been said at the time. Basically, the concept that there's a match is a lie. And if OP feels strongly that perhaps maybe her husband is the biological father of this girl, then it might just be worth reaching out and see what she knows and see if she actually does know who her father is. And if not, then perhaps point her in the right direction, or perhaps even have your husband reach out. I don't know. I don't know what the right option here would be, because either it's your best friend lied to you about there being a potential DNA match, or there is a potential DNA match and you're kind of just barging in with no reason. It's a gamble, but I don't think it would hurt. I don't know, but what do you guys think in the comments section? What should OP do in a situation like this? Smooth Strain 69. Am I overreacting to my girlfriend posting this on her story? My girlfriend reposted a reel with this caption. I love when there's physical chemistry, but it would be a bad idea to act on it, so whenever you're around each other, you both diplomatically pretend there isn't this ancient animal awareness between your bodies. We're in an exclusive relationship, and when I saw it, it just felt weird. Like, Why post something like that clearly implies having strong chemistry with someone you shouldn't act on it with? I told her it made me uncomfortable, but she brushed it off and said it was just a vibe post. I don't want to be controlling, but it rubbed me the wrong way given the context. Am I overreacting for feeling off about it? Edit additional context. When I brought this up, she said she was hurt that I'd think she'd ever do something like that. She told me it felt like I don't trust her, and that my head is on a swivel waiting for her to cheat. I've never accused her of being capable of that, so that was hard to hear. I do trust her. I was reacting to what the post implied, not accusing her of anything. She ended up deleting the reel, didn't make her do it, but I left the conversation feeling like maybe I'd overstepped or was just being insecure. So this is just me personally here. When my partner finds someone else attractive, I'm not really too put off by that because I'm not too concerned. But normally, that's a private conversation. That's something that remains between us. It's not something that's broadcasted or shared publicly. Because in this instance, it's not even about whether or not she would actually give in to her animal instincts or whatever the hell. It's about the fact that she's in a committed relationship and publicly, she posted about how she has the urge to be physical with another. Whether it's a guy or a girl doing this, no matter what, it's just incredibly disrespectful to your partner. Unless, of course, you're in a relationship that's compatible or even encourages this behavior. I'm looking at you, the polyamorous mafia that lurks in my comments section. I fucking see you. Which I also guarantee that if you ask anyone who's polyamorous in my audience, they'll probably tell you that the main thing that keeps their relationship stable is communication with each other and respecting boundaries. Something that is not going on here in this relationship. Don't forget, this is brought to you by GamerSupps. Use code ODDS at checkout. It's basically a caffeine powder that you put in your water, and I actually really like it. I use this on a daily basis. Don't forget that every purchase you make using code ODDS directly supports the channel. And if you want a personal recommendation from me, I would either recommend the Soda Pressing Pear or Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are currently my favorite flavors. And as a note, once we sell a certain amount of stuff, I get my own flavor and my own cup, and you all know I'm gonna choose some degenerate shit that's gonna make their PR team squirm. My goal is to make them regret partnering with me. So please, use code ODDS at checkout to make my dream come true of making a PR team squirm.